And we're live.
Hello.
Welcome. Why don't you start off, Josh, by introducing yourself to the audience?
That's not a thing we do. I mean,
Maybe
if they're here, they've given us money, so they know who we are. That just seems superfluous.
But you look so different than last time.
Welcome to the oh wait, I'm sorry, put your Eclipse glasses on. Welcome to the August patron hangout. Yeah. I literally can't see through these when I have them on. So. Yeah, welcome to the August patron hangout.
And
thank you for coming, and we're gonna wrap this up now. Goodbye.
So we don't have anything prepared. So any topics?
Except some raw honesty.
You say that like we did previously.
We did. Last time we've had discussion topics for the last we just forgot about this. We thought it was next week.
Listen, there's a lot going on.
And so we didn't have anything prepared. So you guys have anything you want to talk about?
Well, somebody said in the chat room just now, Preacher is on, and that actually reminded me because for the first time in months, I inadvertently watched television with commercials. Mm-hmm. I'll save the details of how that happened, and it happened to be AMC. I was watching *Halt and Catch Fire*, Connor, which you have to watch because
normally I let them pile up and then I watch them a bunch in a row.
But this particular recording, legitimate recording of *Halt and Catch Fire*, had commercials in it, and I was frantically hitting the 15-second skip button, but I caught a Preacher commercial. Now, I'm not watching Preacher. I tried watching the first season. I stopped after 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me.
Apparently, they're doing better now.
Well, I saw on it, and I saw *Saint of Killers*, and I saw *Hair Star*, and I looked at them like, that's *Hair Star*? Yeah, no, this is still not for me.
No.
Yeah.
Well, those things were never going to translate to live action without looking weird.
That's not. I mean, that wasn't the problem, though.
No, I mean for Ron though.
Well, those things were never going to translate.
Oops, sorry.
Someone's on a delay.
That was me. I was trying to open the thing. I just didn't mute.
No, the show was boring. That's why I stopped watching. But yeah. Ron's always got a problem with the way things look.
Right, but I'm apparently it's not as boring.
Okay.
I haven't checked because I really I don't have it in me to be disappointed again. It's not even disappointed. I just,
Did you not even bring your mic for this? Or are you just using your laptop mic?
Did it turn off?
Oh no, okay, it's there. He sounded different, sounded a little echoey. It's okay.
It's because I'm trying to open up the chat window at the same time, and it's spinning and it's being weird.
That's one thing. One thing I've always known about Josh since college is he's not a good multitasker.
It's
true. It's so true.
Well, it's in his defense, multitasking is not a good use of your time. Your attention is fractured, and you end up doing poorly on multiple things as opposed to well on one thing. So,
I wasn't paying attention. I was doing something else. What?
So you're not going to watch it, Ron? You're not even give it a shot?
No, I'm not even going to give it a shot. I'm full. I'm all full up with TV.
Yeah, let's talk about Fargo season 3.
I've recorded every episode.
You've been saying that for a long time, and you've watched other stuff that is lesser than since saying that.
Well, no.
Yes.
What have I watched that's lesser than?
Almost nearly anything you could have watched. I mean, it's not a tough.
Well, hold on. We're talking about season 3 now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 3 is not that good.
I disagree with you.
Oh, wow. Those are fighting words.
It's good in comparison to other shows, but I think by far the worst season.
But it's got everyone I like in it, right?
Yeah. Take the individual elements though, and it's a Ron salad.
No, totally, and that's why Ron will like it. But I just think it was by far the worst of all the seasons. Like the other ones felt really special. This one felt more like standard. Then there was some really good stuff in it, but overall, I didn't feel like it was as special as the first 2 seasons were.
You said the same thing about the second season. The sex season. You know, I
like the second season until the very, very
end. Wait a minute. Nobody told me there was a sex season.
Oh yeah, no, the sex season. It's the accents that get you.
Good times.
What are you watching now, Ron? Now that TV is not back yet.
Well, It's on the fucking list. I'm still finishing the TV, watching shows from last season. I've got like 5 or 6 episodes left of Gotham to watch.
At what point is this
example? That is worse than Fargo.
Yeah, but I watched that. But here's the thing.
But he likes it.
Well, I like it. It's got Donald Logue, and I like Donald Logue. But
he's barely in it.
He's barely, but it's still good. But
same birthday.
I watch, and you're both Irish. He's much more Irish than you, though.
He's actually barely. I mean, like a half a generation.
Well, no, but he's got the name. He drinks a lot, or so I think. He seems like he drinks a lot. I think he used to drink a lot. Connor, do you remember when he was?
Hold on. What you're saying is that the measure of an Irish person is the amount of drinking they do. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay. Well, let me ask you: how much fixing of the carding markets have you done lately?
Anyway, I watch Gotham on my tablet in the gym in the morning, right? And like Fargo, I want to sit down and watch on the TV, like in a appropriate viewing environment. And unfortunately, my life has now steered myself in a direction where those moments are few and far between.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a slave to your TV shows if you're still watching the ones from last season, and now you're gonna come up against the new ones?
No, because I'll just keep racking them up. That's all. It's like debt.
Do you eventually just declare bankruptcy? Have you ever done that?
No, there have been some shows. Like I subscribed to that Frequency show because I liked the movie, and I downloaded every episode of the season. Never watched a single one. Saw it got canceled and just deleted them all.
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
I started recording that, Ron, too, and I think I didn't even watch it. I was like, what? You know what? I don't care. I deleted it.
You know why? You know where that TV show went wrong? Is it Andre Brower or Yaphet Kotto?
I don't like where this is going.
No, they're just he was not in it. I gotta look. That movie was great. I love that movie.
They were both in Early Homicide. That's true.
It is who was it? It is Andre Brower. That's who it is.
So he was in the movie.
There's a moment in the movie that's also in the trailer where Andre Brower is talking to the main characters like, you think you're getting messages in the future. And it's just like a well-delivered Andre Brower line. It's very good. That was a great movie.
It was a good movie.
Watch that episode of that interrogation episode of Homicide right now, just from him saying that.
Wasn't that a CW show?
It was.
Yeah, I think I recorded the first one, and I was like, no, no. So what else are you watching?
Someone in the chat room says we're all way too clean shaven. I just shaved last night, so give me a break.
I just shortened it. It's hot.
Listen, Harry's also pays us to shave.
That's
they do?
That's not a contract. At no point. We're all pretty much like I just trimmed a little more. Everybody else looks exactly like they always look.
I trimmed last night.
I literally got a haircut on Friday, so this is a new
Thursday.
I mean, this is not that much. Can you grab that? I want to show you guys our newest piece that we got framed.
Oh, I was like, where's that going?
It's like, look, this is a laser scope. Like,
I was gonna go with her name is Tanya.
Oh, this is our piece.
So this is this is
where we live.
Darwin Cook Wonder Woman.
Ooh.
And what's cool about this was on the back side, he also did a Superman.
Oh, so that's clever.
We had to do a double frame.
It's like that's like the painting in 6 Degrees of Separation, the Kandinsky.
Right. So
right,
it's going to be a challenge to hang, but
there's literally no way to hang there and display ball.
Well, we have you put a chain and hook it on a hook, and you can.
No, what you could do is you can get a hook with a swivel, and so it can turn.
Hang in the middle of the room, but also put a guy wire that attaches it to the bottom so it doesn't sway.
And make it really invisible so you never see it.
Right.
It's like the Kandinsky. Am I making like a really deep? It's Mamet, right? Isn't that Mamet? Is that Mamet? 6 Degrees of Separation.
Those are two Mad Men and 6 Degrees of Separation, like the Will
Will Smith movie.
Will Smith, Stockard Channing.
I never saw that.
That was not Mammoth. Yeah.
No.
I'm pretty sure that was Mammoth. No, John Guare.
It's a Kevin Bacon movie, I believe.
No, Kevin Bacon is not in it. Donald Sutherland and Stockard Channing. Ian McKellen too. And
they
Bruce
just did a revival on Broadway with the guy from 24 and Straight Outta Compton, and it did not do well. It failed.
J.J. Abrams was in it. J.J. Abrams was in 6 Degrees of Separation.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Josh, to both those things.
Okay. I was just thinking of the available actors in that. I was like, well, it's not Ice Cube's kid who looks exactly like Ice Cube.
He's apparently like a Broadway actor, or he's came out of Juilliard or something. I remember something like that.
Anthony Michael Hall was also in that movie. We all remember Anthony Michael Hall, don't we?
So this was the one where
the domestic abuse incident.
Yes.
So this is the episode where the guys just read movie credits.
Yeah.
Because they forgot about the show and didn't prepare a topic.
Oh, someone in the chat room asked if we watched the Defiant ones.
I did.
We had this conversation, didn't we?
Quite diligently.
Didn't we, Josh?
Yes, we did.
I watched up until I did not watch the 4th part because I don't need to see billionaires patting themselves on the back for an hour and a half.
So did you not watch Straight Outta Compton then?
I did. No, well, so I watched part 1
because
and part
that
2.
was kind of a billionaire patting himself on the back.
Well, no, yeah, and what's funny is that I watched part 1 and part 2, and I found part 1 and part 2 compelling for the Jimmy Iovine stuff because I didn't know as much about his history, but I'd already seen Straight Outta Compton, so the Dre stuff, I was like, whatever, get on with it. Really, the only thing about the Defiant ones that was any good was part 3 because it actually had people other than Iovine and Dre in it. And my whole problem with this is that I saw the ads on the subway for it, and the ad campaign was a picture of Bruce Springsteen, black and white photo with big bold letters said Defiant, and a picture of Stevie Nicks, Defiant, and Marilyn Manson, Defiant, Trent Reznor, Defiant, and Dr. Dre, Defiant. I'm like, oh, this is going to be an awesome music documentary. This is going to be great. And then I turned it on, and I start watching it, and I very quickly realized that this is just, billionaires patting themselves on the back for 4 hours.
I wish. So you must be used to that, spending all that time in San Francisco.
No, not as much as I would like.
I wish you had highlighted more specifically the moment when he got rid of his unibrow.
Oh, Iovine? Yeah.
Yeah, just at one I was at one point, I was waiting for it to go, and it still wasn't, and then it was gone, and I just feel like they could have that was a transitional moment they could have hit.
The emotional struggle to make the decision to do it.
Yeah, at some point, somebody's like, "You look like an ape, and you need to stop it." He's an Italian.
Yeah, he's Italian.
You know him?
But I enjoyed the part 3. I enjoyed part 3 of it. That was very because what I realized is that I would just like a documentary about Trent Reznor.
I was watching that part though, and I was thinking, I was like, oh, you know what? If at that point I was a label guy, I liked a lot of the Interscope stuff. That was the thing.
Interscope was the shit, and then in early '90s, Interscope, because I remember before I got lost in the sea of underground punk and hardcore and stuff like that, there was that post Nirvana, Pearl Jam, kind of rush, and then it was like, okay, what else can we get our hands on? And Primus was in there, and Primus was always a little too weird for me. Jerry Was a Race Car Driver was the stand, that was really, really good. But then the next album came out, and it's like, oh, these guys are weird, and that's when I bailed. But that was the first time I remember Interscope as what label is this? So and then 9 Inch Nails, and then
coming from the last couple of years of high school into college, Primus was my favorite band.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was totally, and there was a point where it was funny is that it didn't get too weird. That album, there's the album After Pork Soda came out our senior year of high school, and it was a few months late. I remember they kept changing the board because I kept waiting for it. Tales from the Punch Bowl, and it was so boring. They went from these huge lists of long, interesting lyrics to songs that were that long and super boring and were known as Big Brown Beaver. And I remember that was it. I was like, I'm over.
Yeah, man. I wish if we had a time machine. Okay. After we killed Hitler, I would go, and Josh, I would grab you and I would take you back to the day in 10th grade or 11th grade when I was in video class and someone came in with a videotape of 120 minutes and Start Choppin' played. And And that was my first exposure to Dinosaur Jr. And I would love to see that moment again.
You just want to watch yourself see a thing.
I want you to watch me watch Dinosaur Jr.
But you don't want to watch a documentary about really accomplished billionaires talking about what they've done. But that you think would be an excellent use of what must be an enormous amount of energy to make a time machine work. It's like I think you should see
I want to travel with you to watch the highlights of my musical discovery.
I feel like
in like a weird Christmas Carol kind of like.
I feel like we might want to explore other possibilities just before we start on that trip.
I think that's where I'll spend my gigawatts.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate nostalgic fantasy.
It really is. And then I can hit you and go, oh, watch this.
Because one thing that's going to make me feel great is looking at ourselves much younger. I think that's going to be exactly what my psyche needs.
Well, Ron looks pretty much the same.
You'd be surprised.
No, he's put up a couple of old pics. We're all.
Did you see that recent one? The recent one that Jessica put up?
Mm-hmm.
On Facebook from it was 90. I think it was 95 or 96. Good sideburns with that photo, and holding a Snapple.
I had to buy a large can of beer to make sausage tonight, and I was so annoyed that I didn't get carded. Like I was deeply like, really, you're not gonna come on?
Interesting.
Come on.
All right, here's a fun game, Connor. If you could meet up with your 10th grade self, what would you tell him?
In 1987.
Grow it out.
No,
Grow it all out.
They're 10th grade, not 10 years old. 10th grade. So
10th grade.
Yeah. So 15. 93.
There's got to be some stocks that you can buy.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I mean, yeah, buy Apple.
Yeah.
Some better financial planning.
Buy Google. You don't know what it is, but buy it.
You couldn't buy
Tell him to live.
Well, yeah, at the time. I will never forget. I will on the topic of Halt and Catch Fire and buying stocks. I will never forget my senior year, the first year I got on the internet and using Mosaic and then eventually using Netscape and going, wow, if this company ever goes public, it's going to make $1 million, and then a lot of money. And then I went on tour and I remember getting a newspaper. I was in Arkansas somewhere and like at a rest stop and the front page is Netscape IPOs and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was right. Not that at 18 I would have known how to get into an IPO, but yeah. So.
Or have been able to.
So Josh, what would you tell a 15-year-old you?
Oh, I mean,
how
much time do we have? I would explain to him what introversion was and to stop feeling bad about that. Mm-hmm. And I would say, do all that stuff that you thought you couldn't do. This is too serious.
Wow, this is getting...
No, I would be like, join a band now. You think you're not good enough. If it turns out everybody sucks, it doesn't matter.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
What is your band experience like now?
What does that mean?
You're in a band.
Yeah, tell everyone about your band.
How are you finding that?
Well, you make a left and then make a right and then I go down.
Are you having fun?
Yeah,
what you're looking for? Are you getting what you want out of it?
Sort of. I mean, like I'm very aware of the fact that I'm like a 40-year-old man and like I have images of like you ever been to like a public park or like a local fair and you've seen that band up there and I thought I don't want to be that.
Yep.
Now you are.
I think that you honestly, do you know who is in my mind all the time? Like, oh, if I look stupid, Sideburns there. That kid, I don't want him to ever see it.
Who?
You, Ron.
What do you mean?
I've stood in audience with you and I've watched bands and we have ripped them to shreds.
Oh, I wouldn't rip you to shreds.
I know he doesn't want you to see his band.
I'm very good at watching my friends play.
I don't want any
bands.
My mom was like, no.
I would love to see your band.
Well, after we play,
I mean, I would check my phone a lot.
Well, I mean, you're you. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
I would check my phone a lot.
You guys?
Said everyone.
How often are you guys playing?
We practice once a week, and they would like to get to the point where they're gigging like, 3 or 4 times a month on weekends. Because the drummer is like a professional drummer, like this is his full-time job, and so he hooked up with it to be like, I think I can make money like this. And I was like, you can make money doing this? Because I don't expect that. Honestly, my favorite thing is I like to play with other people. That's my favorite part about playing guitar, is not sitting there playing by myself, but kind of, and then like stuff that you don't even like so much, you're like, oh, it's kind of fun anyway, just to play with other people.
So what's your go-to song? What's your band's,
What's the
that you break out to make the crowd go wild?
Yeah, what's the real showstopper? What's the showstopper?
The end of set lists are like, so there's three.
Stairway? Stairway?
No. Although actually one of them is Little Black Submarines, which is basically Stairway to Heaven, but by the Black Keys. And then the end of the other set list is Lazy Eye by the Silver Sun Pickups. And the end of the other set list is Whirring by the Joy Formidable, which are both big, loud guitar songs, basically. They all are.
And you're playing lead?
There's only one guitar, so yes.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Well, then you don't have to worry about 4 people's schedules being screwed up because they are old and have jobs and other things to do.
Is this your first band since you were in Joe Casey's band?
No. This is my 3rd since my midlife crisis started. It's just the other 2 fell apart. I quit one of them. And then
well, you can't count them.
I played with them for like months at a time. You
play in gigs?
No, but like we were working towards it. It was like long enough. And like the first one I left because I was like, you guys are not good. Like I'm not that good. So they were really bad. And the second one, like the guy just wrote, like they kept canceling practice for like a month. And then finally the guy goes, I don't know. I'm not feeling it. And it was his house. And that was it. I never heard from him again.
The chat room is very quiet and I can
let's alone.
Josh, why don't you tell us about your love of Tormund?
Tormund Giants. Why don't we talk about Game of Thrones? I bet people would be interested to know where we stand.
There you go. That's what I was thinking.
Like we should.
Well, hold on.
Yes.
We should ask them about spoilers, or at least warn them about spoilers.
Can I get some check-ins from the chat room if we're allowed to talk about it? That's a fuck no. So that's
fuck no. What? Like fuck no? Like no spoilers?
Yeah, context.
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
Do you think that we can do it without being specific? Do you think that we can do that?
Oh wow! It's very, very all over the place.
We don't have a consensus.
I think we can do it without spoiler specific though.
Yeah, let's okay, because we're all.
Yeah.
Here's what I was telling Ron, and this is not spoiler specific because it's been the whole time. I was telling you too, but I feel like I was talking around when I said it, so who knows? I like the existential threat of the White Walkers, but I really have no interest in watching a zombie fight show at all.
Yeah.
It's less compelling when they're just hacking away at skeletons.
Absolutely.
It's more compelling when there are 2 humans fighting each other, and then there's stakes and there's
all the human intrigue and drama is enough. Like I don't like the. I mean, we've talked about this with comics a billion times. When you bring in that supernatural element, like I don't know, I think it's interesting enough anyway. Just the politics of the whole thing.
Sure, but it was all leading to this eventually.
Sure. The ice and fire and whatnot.
I think just from a, I think of, the Hound fighting Brienne is a great fight because there's a lot of human element to it. Whereas that when they fight 1,000 skeletons, it's just kind of like. Not as exciting.
It's like watching what's his name, the guy who just died, Jason the Argonauts kind of thing. Just like knocked them all down.
I mean, I like the White Walkers. It's just that there aren't any of them in the fight. I don't know where they went.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone is so scared of them. They're not even on the field. They're all in the back watching. I'm really enjoying this season.
The books.
There will be no more books.
Take his word for it.
Yeah,
I've heard this from 2 sources.
That book's never coming out.
There are no more books coming out.
Which is bullshit, by the way.
Right.
There might be one, but I heard it from 2 sources this weekend, both of whom have direct connections to George R. R. Martin.
Do you remember the outrage? To bring about the comics, do you remember the outrage in the early 2000s when Kevin Smith didn't finish that Daredevil comic?
Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine.
Or Ultimate Hulk versus Wolverine, or whatever that Daredevil bullseye thing Kevin Smith worked on, whatever. Just the outrage.
That wasn't good though.
True, but
at this point, at some point though, Kevin Smith himself just turned into sort of a low grade outrage for me. Why are you?
Yeah, but at the time it was popular and people freaked out. This is at a much higher level. I know. Yeah. Our buddy Mike, he's been reading the books for 18 years or however long it's been coming out, and he went down a dark existential rabbit hole the other day when we were talking, because he's like, he likes the show about the book's not coming out anymore. He likes the show, but he's there's so many, and you know this, Josh, there's so many characters and storylines that are not in the show at all that he's like, they just disappear now. I never know what happens to them. There's no resolution to those characters.
Not only that, but I would not understand the show nearly as well as I do if I had not read those books. Like, I know who everybody is because I read the books, not because of the show. Like, I can follow it because I read the books.
No, I've never read a page of the books.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the show, and then I read the Wikipedia page.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt as if that was really all I needed to do.
But even I'm starting to lose track. You know, I'm like, well, that's Beric Dondarrion, and then that guy that's Yellow Cloak. I don't know. That's what they called him in the book. I don't know his name in the thing. Like,
what's funny is that I know more about Game of Thrones from the dumb pinball machine than from the because like I know Arya's list, because for the Stark mode you have to you hit the same ramp, and every time you do it, Arya says Beric Dondarrion, the Hound, the Mountain, Cersei, Joffrey. Like, I just like
Dondarrion's on her list. He's not on her list.
Beric is, I think, isn't he? Or Beric Dondarrion? Yeah.
I know. Wait.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a storyline that they have not picked up from that.
Right.
It was in the show. Catelyn Stark at the end of what, season 3 was like alive and with them.
Yep.
The hell happened to that?
All right, all the names on Arya's kill list. Here we go, right here. Thank God for Quora. Joffrey, Cersei, Walder Frey, Meryn Trant, Tywin Lannister, Melisandre, the Red Woman, Beric Dondarrion, Thoros of Myr.
What did he do?
Ilan Payne, Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, and Sandor Clegane, the Hound. So
pretty much took care of most of that.
So Beric did it because leader of the Brotherhood of that Banner sold Gendry out to Melisandre.
Oh,
so yeah, the Gendry thing. So
he's dead now. Oops, no spoilers.
Yeah, I forgot when they brought Gendry back. Sorry, spoiler. I forgot that so much of the cast, not so much, 2 people, but the skins to Game of Thrones.
He was the best character on Skins.
Yeah, he was great on Skins. Yeah,
but I'm really enjoying this season. I think
I am too.
It's they've cut the fat because they only have a few more episodes left. They have a lot of plot to resolve. This is something that David Lynch could be taking a page from, and it just is a lot of. I mean, people are complaining that it's all just big moments. Well, that's all they've got left.
Yeah,
they've been building for 7 years to this.
Yeah. I've seen completely different reactions, opposite. Like, I don't like how it is now. This is great how it is, and I was like, I don't think it's bad or good. I mean, I think it's, if you like it, you like it. If not, it's not for you. You know,
right?
It's pretty fun.
I think it's funny to think back that around the second or third episode it originally came on, I almost stopped watching because I found it too confusing. And that would have been a huge mistake.
I find it very odd how delighted I get when there's a new location on the map in the credits.
Oh yeah, we freaked out when they said
Eastwatch. Yeah. I was like, whoa.
I find it fascinating that Ron's watching this.
Why?
I don't know. You're not a fantasy person.
I read every Dragonlance book.
Well, as an adult Ron, it doesn't really.
No,
seem
like what's weird is that I actually have a deep, dark, secret D&D corner that I don't really indulge in. But like in middle school,
like in your apartment, you have like a little corner.
No, in middle
camera.
In middle school, I played the Gold Box D&D computer games, Champions of Krynn and Death Knights of Krynn and Pool of Radiance.
Sounds like some nerd shit.
Love those games. And then from those games, I read the Dragonlance novels, which were, to be honest, Lord of the Rings for middle schoolers. It was literally totally Lord of the Rings, but like easy reader version.
So The Hobbit.
Yeah, but I mean, like a group of there's a warrior, there's a mage, there was a elf, there's a half elf, there's a knight. like the whole team aspect, the fellowship. But I mean, I got deep in that, like 7th and 8th grade. There was a bookstore in downtown of my town I grew up in, and they sold, and I would buy those paperbacks and tear right through them. Like this is the period right before Timothy Zahn books came out.
Uh-huh.
So like before, and that was I remember I was in the bookstore perusing the D&D books when I saw Heir to the Empire. Was it not Heir to the Empire? Was the first time? Yeah, Heir to the Empire. And I was like, ooh, Star Wars book. What is this? And I grabbed that, and then I went home and read it, and then I was in Star Wars land for like 5 years. So,
and he never left.
Yeah, but no, but why? I mean, when in our lost dark year, 2005 to 2006, that wouldn't have happened without my D&D background.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, I got into World of Warcraft, not just, I mean, playing with you guys was fun, but like I was in it for the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do miss about Blizzard games, about Warcraft, is that world, fantasy world. And when we talked about Warcraft 3 briefly last week, I felt that itch.
Oh, wait, is it installed? God. Is it?
I think I tried to play it a couple years ago and it didn't work. But that would be what the updates are for.
No, I don't have it on this machine. I used to have it. Is it under Blizzard? Maybe no. I don't have it. I have BattleNet. BattleNet's on here.
There's no need doing that.
They keep
screwing it up.
Somebody asked why we stopped playing
World of Warcraft because we wanted our lives back.
It was a genuine
addiction
with consequences.
Yeah.
100% addiction. It's a point where I still get itchy. Like
it was really interesting. Like the moments I remember dreaming with the UI around my point of view, like legit having REM sleep in game, like where I could see the map and everything. That I thought was a warning sign. Also, I remember watching the sunrise one morning.
Mm-hmm. Me and you.
Oh God, what have we done with our lives? It was just
I remember you and I playing, and suddenly the sun was coming up, and it was like, oh.
I remember being acutely aware of the fact that when I had to do something else, in life during the day, like on a weekend, this is before kids, like I was irritable.
Yeah.
Like, and I just and
you in withdrawal.
And I thought it's not even that fun. That like I need to not do everything. Like it's fun. It was fun hanging out with you guys, but I did have a moment like that where it was like I think neither of you were around. Like it was literally like I'd send Lindsay off to bed and then like all right, and then 5 a.m. and then like you guys had to go or something, and I was in LA, so I had 3 hours on you.
Yeah,
right. And I remember like whatever 10 or 11, I'd be like, Jesus, I gotta hurry. They've been on.
We get into fights because one would level up faster than the other, and because like work got busy, or I remember being on like a business trip or something like that, and finding out that you guys finished a whole bunch of quests. I was like, yeah. So.
I was grinding in the hotel room in Boston the night before Josh's wedding.
I remember that.
I remember,
but
you guys couldn't play.
I also remember I didn't go to 60. I stopped at 58.
Well, yeah, I was the first one to pull out. I remember the day. I remember the moment we were together. We were doing something. We were fighting something, and I dinged and hit 60, and I went, "That's it," and I logged out, and I never went back in.
I think it was pretty soon after that. Like I hit 60, and it was like, 3 a.m, and I was by myself, and I just went, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, God,
we're lucky because now the top level is like I think 100 or 200 and something like that.
Jeez. All right, comics questions from the chat room. Thoughts on Wade and Somni on Cap?
I really thought, didn't we do this already?
I think amongst ourselves.
No. Like when I saw the head, like they're doing it, I thought, wait, they haven't done that?
Somni hasn't. Wade, as we know, has.
Somni did.
He revitalized Cap in the 90s.
Yeah,
he famously brought Cap back from the armored Cap of the early 90s.
But like I thought they had done a book together. I know that Somni did. I guess it was a Winter Soldier book that was really good. You remember that?
Somni did that team up book, Captain America and Bucky.
Okay, there you go.
That became like all-purpose team up Cap book. But I don't think Wade did it.
No, I know that. I'm a little hesitant. Like, I'm like, maybe don't put them together again. Maybe do something else.
Really?
I'm kind of more with Josh because I didn't love Black Widow. I'll be honest.
No, I didn't either. And then the second half of Daredevil.
But I think that's got to be more to do with the character. I mean, their Rocketeer work was stellar. Their Daredevil work was stellar. It always was great to look at. At the very least, it's going to be a great book to look at.
Somni did one arc of Captain America and Bucky.
Yeah, and then frankly,
he did four or five issues, and it was written by Andreyko and Brubaker.
Here's why. I want to see. That's a great team for that book. I want to see Somni go to sort of the next thing that he's going to do, and I think working with the same guy doing the same thing, we're not going to see that. We're going to see more of what we've seen. Yeah, agreed. That's my instinct. I guess if I was an editor, I'd be like, let's switch it up. I'm sure it'll be fine and it'll be great. And like that book needs to happen. If you follow Remender and Ramita, really fun, but not sort of traditional Cap. And then you went right into the Nick Spencer thing. It's like, the world needs that version back, I think, probably.
It's been a long time since we've had a traditional Cap book. Which is good because that's what I want to read. And I liked Remender's run a lot, but
yeah, I did too. It was super fun, sort of Kirby, ballsy, weird, wacky action.
Yeah, Dimension Z stuff. That was that was good.
It went on a long time.
Sorry,
it's Marvel, so it's whoever it's out every 2 weeks, and it's whoever.
Well, it was
Acuna for a little while.
Acuna, but
Acuna. Oh no, the Captain America's had. Remember, I've been railing on this. It's had all Jesus size and like.
He's good.
And no, but like
not every issue.
Not every issue, and then like the awful art. Like, Captain America has had awful art recently. By the way, I didn't talk about this on the podcast recently, but there was a couple of books I read recently. We should say recently every other word.
Recently, you said that.
There was a couple of books that like changed up artists in the middle of the book, and nothing bothers me more than that. Like differing style, like that drives me bananas. There you go. That's all I got.
There's a way to do it. Like Iron Fist with Aja and whoever that other person was the best way to handle that. And like no one's following that rule still.
Right. I mean, if you're gonna have different artists, then at least at minimum different scenes. Mm-hmm. Like, don't change art. We talked about this. Don't
change the middle of the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, with the DC stuff. Even with Jim Lee, John Romita, and Kubert, like, don't change artists mid scene. Don't
change horses midstream.
These are not hard rules comics.
What horse shit is that?
Yeah, come on.
At some point, we are going to reference Wag the Dog, and it's going to be like 35 years old. And we're like, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I realized this is what old people were like when I was a kid. That they would reference things like, who knows what you're talking about? And I do it all the time.
Well, now we've got the internet.
Someone else wanted to know what, Connor, what do you think of the Doomsday Clock covers that came out today?
I'm so excited for that book.
Yeah, why?
I'm really excited. I mean, listen, we talked about it. If they're gonna do it, let's just do it. Let's lean into it.
Right.
As long as it's a good story and the creative is good, who cares?
As I always say, flame on. Just do it.
You don't always say it. You say it with things, except the X-Men totally do that.
Oh, that's a baby. But no, I think we're at the point now. It's funny because you can probably track our tastes and emotions throughout the course of the 12 years of the show, but I think we would have a different answer maybe 10 years ago. But for now, it's like, fuck it.
Right.
I'm telling you, reading Super Gods and reading Grant Morrison describe what superhero comics should be like changed my entire world for that stuff.
In what way?
The idea that adults. I know what you're saying, Josh.
There's a bit where it's only a few pages and he's talking about how adults want everything explained. And what happened was when comic books went dark in '86, more or less, it got serious. Comics are not for kids anymore. Everything had to be explained. Everything had to make sense. And he's like, the comics that I grew up with, the 60s, DC stuff, it was wacky. It didn't make sense. Superman had a lion head for one issue. Didn't matter. And we've lost that. And I was like, holy shit, we have.
Yeah.
And that ties back to our conversation about Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
But I remember having this argument on the website, like, you know, kids will accept a lot, multiple Earths, doppelgangers, Superman with a lion's head, but adults will freak out because that's not all totally explained. And then what happens is, in the course of totally explain it, you make it really boring. We had this discussion about Wolverine.
I think
Ronald had this discussion about Bob on Twin Peaks.
Yep.
Like, the more you have to explain something, the less interesting it gets.
He used something, an example like, you know, like, well, when do you have to gas up the Batmobile? And as soon as you do that, it's over. But the thing is, like, we're not immune to it.
Absolutely.
Like, if it's, first of all, it has to be really good for it to work. Like, it has to be good. Something about it has to be good. It either has to be funny or interesting or unique or whatever it is. Because if it's not good, then that will still suck me down.
We lose the audience. The audience will go. The audience will go along with you if the story is really good. And you'll forgive a lot more if the story is really good. If the story is bad, then you start looking for reasons to start pulling it apart.
And that Watchmen, you know, the Watchmen thing is, we haven't heard from Jeff Johns in a while, and I think he's getting ready to do this thing he's been thinking about for a long time.
Well, what's so funny is that I saw somebody on Twitter, and I forget who said it, but they were responding to those covers, and they're like, "What is Johns thinking? Doesn't he know this is going to tarnish his legacy and like whatever?" And it's like. And it's just like, yeah, no, I don't think he's thinking about it nearly as much as you are.
Also, let's look at everything that Stan Lee did since 1968. His legacy is going to be fine.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but comics have never recovered from before Watchmen.
And there you have it.
I was actually trying to think if you were serious or not in terms of, like, I don't think comics ever recovered from the schism bullshit reactions to it.
Right.
Like,
the fact that it came out and ruined the comics industry, because I mean,
I think it broke fandom. I absolutely think that happened.
You think it did?
Kind of, yeah. Like, that was the sort of part when, like, a lot of people got up in arms about you shouldn't do this and you can't, and I just thought that's so antithetical. And like, there's been a certain, that ownership thing got worse after that. The thing where people now are mad about Captain America being a Hydra agent. The thing, like, I feel like it all bloomed from there. At least as a sort of flashpoint.
I wonder if it's because there's just more avenues now to complain about it. People always felt no ownership over that stuff.
Yeah,
they had nothing to do but write a letter to the editor before.
Or complain in the comic shop or talk to their friends or whatever it is. But now they can immediately get in the face of the creators, and on Twitter or whatnot, or cons or whatever it might be. And I don't know. I mean, like, we were kind of on the front lines heralding in this new age of the transparency and interaction and like, it's amazing if you like it. Like, we were always like, if you like something, you can tell them. Right. And then, and then it just got real dark. It just got.
Well, you see the number of creators who have dropped off of social media.
Oh yeah, totally. Or they're dropped off publicly.
Right. Sure.
There are many. They're still there. You just don't know where they are. So yeah, but
I don't blame them.
Looking for
I
Mark
don't blame
Waid.
anybody.
Yeah.
I don't blame anybody who worked in comics for being like, I don't want to be on Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
Trade-off. Like, it's worth it for a lot of things, but
right. Wanting to work and not wanting to be distracted, not wanting to defend and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's a little more.
You don't explain. Like, let it be.
I mean, the thing is that, like, going back to the Watchmen thing, to the Doomsday Clock, like, we've read Jeff Johns' work for a very long time. We've been, familiar with Jeff for. Remember, Connor, that year in San Diego when he was sitting in the booth by himself, like, wide-eyed, and like, he's got a story to tell. I'm willing to hear him out and to hear what his story is like,
And if it sucks, then you move on.
Yeah,
and then Watchmen's still there on the shelf, and it's fine.
Because guess what? They don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing. Like, none of this matters. Like, people treating. And I don't mean to devalue it, and because it does matter, and I understand it. We know we love these things and we time to it. But at the end of the day, if that comic gets published or doesn't, the sun still rises, the world still turns. It doesn't matter.
What I think is interesting that all that Watchmen stuff, like, is gone. Like, even the really good parts, which are basically Darwin's and Amanda Connor's 2 stories, you know.
Yeah, Minutemen and Special Spectre, but everything else it came and went because it wasn't that good.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to. It's got to be quality, and that's more what I'm worried about. I'm less worried about they're doing a Watchmen story, or they make Captain America Hydra agent, or whatever it might be. And I'm more like, where's the quality? Where is the creators that are that I want to read? You know what I mean? Like the number of times over the past 20 years where we have I've run home to tell you guys about a book or about a new creator that I found or new something like that. That hasn't happened in ages. And we're reading more comics than ever. You know, like I'm regularly reading 20 to 30 books on a weekly basis. And I'm just seeing lower art quality, rush stories. I just like it just doesn't seem. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is me being.
There's
old
a creative
man,
problem. No, there's a creative problem. I mean, there aren't hot new names coming in. It's the same names from the last 10 years, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They still do good work, but there's no one coming in to inject new ideas.
Right. Well, it's actually funny because I saw today Ed Brisson announced he went Marvel exclusive. Right. And this is, and coming off the heels of Donny Cates and you got Sam Humphries over at DC now, and Tim Seeley is taking over Green Lanterns. And, so there are names that are in there that we've known for a few years now. And I've watched kind of these guys kind of up and coming. And I don't know if it's because we're older these guys coming up are younger than us, and I don't know what it is, but like I don't feel the same energy that we felt with a Brubaker, with a Rucka, with a.
Well, they're not moving. They're not moving consciousness. They're not moving. Exactly. The zeitgeist is still being set by guys and their middle-aged guys.
Also, we've seen it. I mean, so like it's going to take more to excite us at this point,
right?
But
you can tell it's not changing the.
Yeah, it's not changing the conversation.
Mm-hmm. It's not like Warren Ellis coming in at 30 years old and writing Authority and Planetary and everything changing after that.
And blowing our minds. So this is a great question though, because Marvel and DC were in positions or had structure built to allow that to happen, and now I do not believe that exists anymore. And I think it's similar to what we've been talking about with the movies, with Marvel movies and now Star Wars movies, that they're no longer auteur driven. That they're more editorial driven.
Well, they're under the microscope now. They didn't used to be. Yeah. That was the one conversation had the most during Comic-Con with people in comics, was that things actually are really different now.
Yeah.
We always talk about people would think or worried things are changing. They never actually did, but now things have actually changed in the industry. And
how have they changed in the conversation?
They're being completely watched now by Disney and Warner Brothers.
Right.
They used to be able to hide off in their corner and do whatever they did. But now they're, the corporate mandated, the synergy between the comics and the stuff on the screen, all that stuff where a show comes out and suddenly all the characters change to match that. That's all from the top.
Yeah.
That didn't happen before as much. But I had this conversation recently. I wonder if there isn't a pipeline of young talent for superhero or big two comics, because kids who are doing that kind of work are doing web comics and they're doing a different kind of style. They're not into. They don't want. Nobody's in high school. When I was in high school, everybody in the art club that I was in wanted to be the next Jim Lee, and it was trying to ape his style. I don't know that if you went to an art club in high school now, you'd see a bunch of kids trying to draw like Jim Lee. You'd see a bunch of kids trying to draw and
like a billion things,
web comics.
But it's also like whatever they found that is for them. So there's not going to be that sort of mono drive.
Right.
The other thing is superheroes are now so say 17 years now. Superheroes are pretty bog standard stuff. Like if you're the art kid, and you want to make something that's interesting or different, that's not what you're going to do.
Well, that's like so. So last weekend I was in San Francisco and I stopped by Isotope, and on the counter James had like three or four issues that were self-published. That he said some girl sent him into him and he took them on consignment. And I looked at it quickly and I thought it was Brandon Graham. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like it was a Brandon Graham clone to the T, because clearly she's somebody who grew up reading multiple warheads and all that sort of stuff. And Brandon has that kind of style and that sort of thing, and you're right. I think that the influences have gotten so widespread and far reached, like look at Vault Comics. Like, as far as I can tell, what Vault Comics has done, and we haven't read much of them partially because I've tried to get on their PR list, and despite being told that we'll get the PDFs, we haven't. But I flipped through a couple of them, and like, it seems as if what they did, it seems as if their business model was to go on Kickstarter and find all the things that got funded but never went any further than that, and then publish them, which is genius. Which I wish I had thought of that. That was great. But like, you get this whole diverse styles and all this sort of stuff that's out there. There's nothing like mainstream because there's all these people. There's all these people who don't fit in at Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or Image or wherever. And it doesn't mean that it's not interesting and compelling stuff. I find it really interesting that we're complaining about the quality drop off, and I think the quality drop off is for real in the mainstream comics, but also like, I don't think it's a quality drop off, but it's been in a stylistic evolution, and it's just not aesthetically. It's not something that I appreciate as much as the people doing it, but it's bad.
There's another side to it too, is that the people who we have known as the sort of the people who are at the top of the creative chains in professional comics at this point, they're lodged in there pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they plugged up the top, and so the bottom is just like Al Ewing broke in. Right. And it's a bunch of that, but there's not really movement in the same sense that I think that there was for a while. Because when we first started iFanboy, shit was volatile. Yeah. Like, they were throwing everything they could up against, and now they're trying to make it stable. That's what the publishers want. They want to know what to expect. They want it. Whereas when we were, starting iFanboy, late '90s into the 2000s, everybody's doing badly. They're coming out of bankruptcy. They're trying to figure out if they can even make comics anymore, and it was awesome. Yeah, because they got to try a lot of things, and it's a whole different ball game now.
I wonder, there was an energy that came from not knowing whether this was going to be around tomorrow, and I wonder if the complacency of security of Disney and Warner has hurt the vitalness of those creators.
I think, and also those sort of interesting, unique young creators you're talking about, like, they're there and they are those things, but they're not going to command a big audience.
Right. Well, I mean, but it's like every other artistic medium now, and this kind of fractured, kind of culture that we're in now, where there's, like we've talked about this in music. There will never be a dominant.
No, rock and roll's over.
Not a rock and roll, but like a dominant musical force that everyone, what I mean? Like, because it's so fractured, and then. Kind of everyone is in their little niche, and stuff is huge that we've never even heard of. And
well, just like there'll never be a 30 million viewership TV show.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, you pick your medium. There's no more dominant thing. Well, everyone has their thing.
There was an article in the Washington Post about the electric guitar like a month ago. And basically it was like, there are no guitar heroes. There's nobody. Same thing with Jim Lee. There's nobody that kids who don't even give a shit about the instrument would go and be like, I want to play because of that. There's no Van Halen. There's no whoever. Right. Who the closest they have is Taylor Swift. She's sold more guitars than anybody in the last 10 years. Easily. Like, not even close. More people have gone into guitar stores and bought guitars because of Taylor Swift than anybody else. And it's a big change. But that's everything.
Well,
so what
heavy.
Bombers.
Bring on the North Korean missiles.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we were talking this weekend about the eclipse with my nieces and stuff like that, and I don't know where I read. Someone said the next time this happens is going to be 2079, although now it's going to be in 5 years or whatever.
Well, it's important to note that these are things happening constantly. It's the full U.S. one hasn't happened.
No, right. That's what I mean. Yeah. But anyway, there's going to be one in 2079 where New York is in the totality, and first off, it was sobering to realize that we won't be around. But then I turned to my niece, who would be 73 at that point, and said, "You've got to watch this for me because it's going to be in New York." And then I said, who am I kidding? New York is going to be a smoldering crater of ash at that point. It's not like you think we're going to make it to 2079. No.
It might be a bay by then.
Yeah, maybe it'll be but then it was accurately pointed out to me that it'll be underwater if anything.
That's what I said. Yeah, so the crater will have filled in.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's turn around these last 5 minutes and let's take some questions from the chat room. How about that?
All right.
So a little more upbeat than global.
That's great. 4.4 million people watch the eclipse online. Go the fuck outside if you want to see it.
Well, you can't look directly at it, Josh.
Apparently, people knew about this and were able to prepare themselves to do such a thing.
Well, it was funny because Carrie said she was walking around walking around Queens, and people were looking up, and like she was like, "No, use the glasses."
No, it was bad.
Queens, that's exactly what Queens is.
CJ, thoughts on the upcoming Queen is Dead reissue? I ordered the 5 LP version, so there are my thoughts.
What's the deal? Why is it? Is it? It's
paint a vulgar picture. It's reissuing, repackaging. They're just
remastered. Like is
they remastered. There's some live tracks in there. Like they did this whole thing with it. So,
right.
Kaju Max. I read the first issue. I didn't read anything else. I liked it, but I didn't stick with it. So, quick initial thoughts on Defenders. I have not started. Connor, you've started.
I'm 3 in.
And you won't say what you think, will you? Because you don't want to bias me. Yeah, you don't want to bias me.
I'm not gonna say a word.
I got 2 Spoon records.
Michael Coulter's very handsome.
Yeah, Mike Coulter he's wonderful.
I saw that there were a couple of Spoon records that were really cheap on Amazon, so I bought them and I listened to Gimme Fiction, and I was like, that's really good. And then I put Ga 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 Ga, or however you're supposed to say it on, and I was like, this is the best sounding record I've ever heard. That was I was like, this is amazing. I heard stuff that I'd never heard before. Cool. That was great. It was my good music moment today.
Right on.
And that's fucking 10 years old.
I'm very excited that Quicksand has a new record coming out.
No shit.
Yeah, they posted it today. Walter posted it, the little video. It's called Interiors. It's gonna be on Epitaph.
Huh, this is what's gonna happen if we don't get questions. Ron and Josh is gonna talk about music, and no one's gonna care.
Quicksand's the shit.
Have they ever been on Epitaph? That seems very. That's
Connor, did you see Batman and Harley in theaters?
No. The Blu-ray will come out, and I'll watch it there.
I've listened to the new Spoon album a couple of times, and it seems very trancy. It doesn't really have hooks or anything that I've been able to find, but I want to try again. I think it probably sounds amazing.
World Series predictions, Connor.
Not the Cubs.
Dodgers.
They're going to make the playoffs, but I think that's it. They don't have it this year for some reason.
Dodgers.
The Dodgers fall into the trap of are they going to be the 98 Yankees or are they going to be the 96 Mariners?
Yeah.
So you don't know. They look unstoppable right now, but
I really wish there's a multiverse where Connor's a baseball analyst, and I want to live there. I love listening to Connor talk about baseball.
None of us are going to tell you anything about Blink-182. We're the wrong.
Ron, you should come here and hang out with me and Hank. We talk about baseball nonstop.
I would love to. You know what I would love to. It would be great.
I think independent comics have more leeway to do crazier energy stuff. Yeah, but they always have. That's not any different than it's ever been. It's harder to get a bigger audience, though. Although then it also
Scott Snyder is still teaching. Yes.
Is he still teaching? I don't think he is. Is he?
Last I heard, he was.
Like at the college?
Yeah.
No shit.
I don't know.
Fairly certain he is.
Gene Luen Yang teaches. He's awesome, by the way. He's great.
Yes,
he came in. I was watching Isotope when James was out of town back when I lived in San Francisco. I was just watching the register, and Gene came in and he didn't want to. He's like, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you. You're the guy for my fanboy." And I was just like, "You're Gene Luen Liang. You're an award-winning comic creator. Like
not even comic awards. Like real awards. Didn't he win a MacArthur grant?
Yeah. It was like he was oddly like deferential to me and this, and I was like, "What are you talking about, man? You're awesome." I like Young Animals. I'm still reading this book.
I'm still reading. What's the one? Why am I stupid? Doom Patrol.
Yeah, but it's not coming out.
I did not.
Right, but that was the one I was still reading.
Yeah.
I can tell you, like, as far as Image goes, there hasn't been a new Image book for a while that I've been really, really excited about. I feel like we're just coasting.
Some are they're solid. I think they're definitely solid books, but I wouldn't, Then you get like Southern Bastards, which is taking months, and I know why. They obviously had deaths in the family, but it's still hard to keep momentum for those books.
We're all
there hasn't been a. We also talk about New Superman on the show a lot, but
I love this.
There hasn't been a new and exciting Image book since basically that Ron fueled Image revolution.
It's not me fueled, but yes, around that. I feel like Paper Girls was the last one.
But who talks about Paper Girls?
exactly.
Who talks about Saga, really?
Yeah. So, and the sales
Saga, and there's enough of them.
Sales numbers reflects that, though. It's been going down. So, all right.
Everything is. We're doomed.
On that note, it is 10:30, 7:30. Oh, look, he's wearing the Electro shirt. There it is.
I got a compliment from it today from somebody who had no idea what it meant. They just said, that's a cool design.
Show everyone else again. There you go. If you thank you to everyone who's ordered one, and you can get it at Threadless, iFanboy.threadless.com. All right.
It's actually very comfortable. It's actually a nice shirt.
So we will see you all in 2 weeks for the 600th episode extravaganza. Mark your calendars. Saturday night, September 2nd. Connor, what time?
I don't know.
8:30, 9:30?
Well,
sure.
There's details forthcoming.
Yeah, details forthcoming. Listen to the show. So, all right. Say goodnight, boys.
Good night, boys.
Good night, boys.